My apologies for my delays.
Hi, Dan.
I- It's Murphy's Law day today.
They haven't started yet, Dan, so I think you're okay. Or at least Ann and I haven't heard anything, or Tola.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't know
thank
that
you.
we've started or not.
Well, they're on mute, so
The bane of my existence is titled Dual Authentication.
It's entitled what?
Dual Authentication. They
Yeah.
it's a new thing at the university but it impacts all my computers
This is
now.
the Northern Kane Educational Corp. regular board meeting. It is Monday, December 15th at 7:08. That time wasn't correct. 7:08 p.m. And I'm calling the meeting to order.
Chair Maniscalco,
Yes.
Vice Chair Casaro,
Present.
Director Miller, Director Fessler,
Present.
Director Burke,
Present.
Director Walsh,
Present.
Mr. Razor,
Present.
Ms. Keating,
Present.
quorum is present.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to recognize our guest, Principals Katie Wachowski and Cindy Placco, as well as Dr. Lynn Gibson and Dr. Kim Sudbeck. Thank you. In addition, this is a special evening, and again, I thank everyone for their patience as we recognize our cross-country athletes. I will call your names and appreciate you coming forward. The first name in recognition, and I'd just like to read a little bit about this because it is a special for Cambridge Lakes and our athletes who, some of whom may have begun our program when they were in fifth grade, maybe sixth grade, and we really enjoy the fact that our athletes meet this commitment on behalf of the youth. We are presenting a certificate for your remarkable hard work and sportsmanship throughout the season and for earning the honor representing CLCN. And this is at our state meet, which again, it's very special for our fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth graders to have the opportunity to compete. Congratulations on this outstanding athletic accomplishment. Your dedication strengthens our team and our school community. So thank you very much. The first name I have is Jonathan Benjamin. The next name I have is Jaden Benjamin. The next name I have is Landon Corsaro. And this is the last certificate I have. This certificate goes to Angelo Malaga. The Illinois Network of Charter Schools also recognizes several individuals for an awards recognition.
And that recognition took place, I believe it was last week, and I was out of town, unfortunately. Otherwise, I surely, if everyone knows me, everyone knows that I would be there. So we have two individuals who were recognized during that evening. And the first of whom is our Illinois Charter School parent advocate. And this is Miss Brittany Munoz. Thank you so much for all that you do for Peter Space. I do know that you work with our parents, you work with our students, you work with our teachers. We don't appreciate that. Congratulations. Thank you. And most certainly, Micah was not able to attend this evening, but he will also be recognized with a certificate as well. Thank you so much. That brings us to item 2, which is our D300 report.
Thank you. We just want to wish you happy holidays from Superintendent Smith and the District 300 Board of Education. That is the report.
Thank you so much. Okay, after Ms. Nacky, our order of business is the approval of our agenda. I need a motion to approve our agenda.
So moved. Second. Director Burke? Yes. Vice Chair Casaro?
Yes.
Director Fessler?
Yes.
Director Miller?
Yes.
Director Walsh? Oh, we lost him. He was having trouble connecting.
Okay. We have quorum, so we can proceed.
Chair Maniscalco, you're last.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. We also have a motion to approve our remote participation. May I have a motion to approve the remote participation as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Director Burke?
Yes.
Vice Chair Casaro?
Yes.
Director Fessler?
Yes.
Director Miller?
Yes.
Chair Maniscalco?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, we're now moving into open session. And have we any comments from the audience? I didn't notice anything when I walked in.
None at this time.
Okay, thank you very much. That moves us to item number 6, which is our chair report. I have one item that I'd like to address during the chair report, and that was a communication that came in to the board related to a school resource officer. And the question was if we had a school resource officer, and what Cambridge Lakes, how Cambridge Lakes approaches the matter of a school resource officer. So I wanted to share that during the chair report and have some dialogue on the matter, since it was sent to our board, and we wanted to have some constructive dialogue on that. So I open it up to our to each of our directors to share their perspective and to provide input. And I also, of course, would like our CEO, Mr. Razor, to address it as well, as that letter was addressed by Mr. Razor as well.
Discussion now.
Discuss.
Is there I know that some communities provide the resource officers, and having experienced the resource officers, absolutely has always been a positive experience, whether as a principal, assistant principal, superintendent, whatever. It was always a positive experience in the school for the kids and I think in the community. Some communities will pay for that resource officer, others do not. So, my first question is, what is there a cost associated with it? What would the presence look like in the school district? What would be the commitment? I mean, have we been approached by the police department, or is it just from the community? So I would have a lot of questions. For a discussion, probably would take some research. So I don't know how far you dug into this, Mark.
So right now we haven't been approached by the police department. We do have an active relationship with them that they will, they're on campus almost every single day. They drive through. In the evening and on weekends, they go through and they actually come in and check our doors from the exterior and make sure everything's safe. And then they come in and they train our staff, and then they will respond to anything. I mean, we're less than a mile, I think, maybe at most, to the police station, so our proximity is pretty close. But it is not something that we've addressed it with the village manager at this time. So I don't know what the cost would be to us. But I can investigate that.
I think for our community, I think one of the unique things about Cambridge Lakes is the fact that our police station is very, very, very close to us in proximity. But I would also add that we also work very, very closely with the personnel in that at the police station. They work with our parents. They were fingerprinted with them. They're on campus. They see us regularly. They know our traffic patterns. They know our families. So I would just add that. So while we don't have a school resource officer specifically, I would venture to guess, Mr. Razor, that you have close contacts with the entire police department.
It's a true statement.
Do we have police presence at pickup and drop off?
Only if requested. So at high times, then beginning of the year, stuff, if we're gonna have large events, then yes. Otherwise, they're patrolling the area during that time to make sure if there is any backups or traffic incidences that they can navigate those. But when we first did the new traffic pattern, they would sit over here by the gazebo and watch it go through. Other than that, it's only when requested.
Yeah, I'm curious if they have any interest in providing one, if there would be a cost. I mean, the relationship piece is cool. I mean, kids get to develop relationships with the officers at a very young age. That presence in the building is, from a safety perception, is significant. And then again, I don't know that I would expect them to be out of drop off and pick up anyway, but many that I've been associated with, when I was in Barrington or in 59, they did that. I don't know if they were required to, but there were some really positive attributes. But I'd be curious on their perspective, and if there is a cost. I think if there is, then we need to kind of weigh those pieces and discuss it further. I don't think it's just a no. I think let's ask a couple of questions and investigate it a little further, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I can look into it and discuss it with the village manager and the police chief and see where we're at with it. But yeah, all of those, having the presence, all the school resource officers I've worked with are outside doing traffic duty and making sure, that doing checks around the building throughout the day. So.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they didn't have the resources to do it either. I mean, it is full-time position. It definitely requires another staff member, which is again a cost. So, all right, thanks, Mark.
Okay, so the action item is to connect with the.
I'll follow up in January.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay. On to that's all I have for my report. So we'll move on to item number 7, which is the CEO report. Mr. Razor.
Good evening, board. So as you can see from our, sorry, let me put up the right slide here. As you can see from our enrollment report, we are up to 700. So we've vacillated between about 696 to 700. And so at the end of November, we met at 700. So we're about 20 more students than what we budgeted for. So we are on a very good upward trajectory. Moving on to the finances, our total revenue came in at a little over 3.8 million, which is $75,000 favorable, so 2% favorable to the budget. So we exceeded what we thought was going to come in by 75,000. So overall, when you're looking up here at the graph, so Diane was able to draw this out a little bit more. So when we look at the orange line right here, that is the difference between that line and our actual operating expenditures. That's amortization and depreciation, right? So our revenues, when we look at what I would consider our cash flow, is our revenue is exceeding. So our cash is exceeding our operating budget right now. And this is where we were to be budgeted. So we're definitely under budget, and we are operating at that point in the school year now, finally, where we're seeing that our revenues have now exceeded it because the tuition rates have come in. That being said, we do not have the current PCTC rate for this year. District 300's audit was extended beyond what it typically had been. And so they are hoping that their audit will be done and they'll be able to give us a PCTC rate in January. So that has to go through their board approval, and then they're able to give that to us, and then we will bill back. But that being said, that will just add on to the revenue and be more and more favorable for us. And so that allows us to increase programming, increase compensation and benefits and also for capital improvements. So we're doing very well. Other questions over the budget at this time? In January, we'll bring the first draft of fiscal year 27 budget to you. And so Diane's team and our director of HR have been working really hard on that. And I hope to get something to you prior to the end of winter break here, so that you have ample enough time to go through all of the projections. Okay. Okay. At this time, I would like to invite Dr. Gibson and Dr. Seuss back up to go through their strategic planning process and where we are so far.
This. Yeah. Okay. Is that? The original. Mark was giving me instructions on it, so. Hi, it's nice to see everyone again. We appreciate being here. And thank you for having us. We've spent a lot of time here. We can find our way around really well. When we first got here, we were kind of like this, like somebody would
What's a Kiva?
Alyssa would rescue us and get us to the right place, or Mark was walking by or whatever, but we appreciate that. We really enjoyed meeting a bunch of staff and students, community members, parents, and then all of you for the interviews. So we appreciate your time for that. A special thank you to Mark and Alyssa for every 2 weeks we meet, make sure we're staying on the schedule and all of that stuff. And Alyssa did a great job of setting up everything for us. Or switching things around or whatever. So we appreciate all of that. It's a lot to do, and we appreciate that a lot. So in your packet tonight, you have the 3 reports. We assume you've all read them by now and know everything in them. We'll be quiz here. I'm just kidding. We won't be doing any of that, but those are for you to take a look at whenever you have some time to do that. The survey, and then the data performance report, and then the qualitative, which also has the focus groups and the interviews in that. It was really neat to hear how, just in general, how positive people are about the school. And some of the big themes of it were, let's keep our uniqueness. Let's keep our small feel even as we're growing. and some of those types of things, and the budget is healthy, as Mark just kind of stole our thunder there on that one, but yes, thank you for that, Mark. But so it's really, you'll see that throughout the reports and the comments are really positive. You know, there are things to work on, like always, but it was a very positive experience. The students were really a lot of fun. Not that you guys weren't a lot of fun, but the students were, you know, they have some really interesting comments. They love the orange chicken.
They do.
So make sure you note that. That's probably in there somewhere. So, and so tonight we just have a brief presentation for you to talk about this before you have a chance to read the reports. Let me go to the next one here. So this is the roadmap that we talk about. Setting the foundation is in that phase 1 where we're kind of getting all set up to work. Phase 2, we've done develop those key insights based on stakeholder feedback. So we've had a lot of that, and we put that together for you. That's mostly what we're presenting tonight. Coming up will be we'll have a retreat to refine the strategic goals. That's one of our favorite things that's scheduled for, because we say everything's our favorite, but that's scheduled for February 6th and 7th. So we'll be working with the team then and come up with those final priorities and what will be turned into action. And then there's the implementation and evaluation. You know, you want to get on a cycle where you're looking at what did we do this year? How did that go? How do we measure it? And then where are we going next year? So we'll be looking at all of those types of things also with you. The data scan, you can see up here that the student performance we looked at, facility conditions, the annual reports, nicely done by the way, we thought. The former strategic plan, or the one we've been working on there now, and then the talent strategies research report. We reviewed all of that, went through that, and then took all that information and put it into the report that you have in front of you tonight that talks about all of the different performances and how things are going with school improvement as well as facilities and in particular, you know, hiring great educators and then keeping them. You know, so that was a really big emphasis on that also. The participants, the data summary for all of these, the interviews, we had 9 interviews. There were 499 surveys that came back to us, and 141 people were involved in the focus group. So we got a really large amount of students and everyone else in there. Meeting with all the teachers was really interesting and informative for us also as we worked through the questions with them. So those are kind of the highlights of all of that. And you can see the breakdown on that. Summary of strengths, and this is from all 3 reports. Student achievement gains, strength, solid finances, safe and clean facilities, campus culture, creative identity, and willingness to meet student needs and drive the new academic model forward. Is the charter school, you always face the balance of how do we do school, you know, versus you know, what does District 300 do and other public schools do, and again hanging on to that uniqueness. And that was brought up just constantly in all of the interviews. We heard a lot also about how the finances have improved quite a bit with the current administration. That was brought up quite a few times too. Summary of opportunities, operationalizing a future forward instructional vision. So how do you want to work as a team to pivot for what students need, yet make sure that students are working through the curriculum and learning as we'd like them to learn. So that constant balance. Designing a personnel strategy and support so we can, you know, again, bring in great educators and then keep them. We want them. The students talked about their teachers and they were very positive about, you know, Mrs. So-and-so or Mr. So-and-so. And, you know, and you better get your homework done because they won't like it if you don't get it done. You got to make sure we do that. So it was really neat. They were very complimentary there too. Leveraging strengths to advance growth, which learners are enrollment, operations, and facilities revenue. So those are the opportunities that are typically what we all have to do and build on in our districts and in our organizations. Losing my voice here. Do you want me to be the clicker for you?
You can.
Okay, good.
So when we were looking at academics, we can say Cambridge Lakes is doing very well, right? So the work that they've been doing so far has been done well. When we looked at the iReady data, Students at or above grade level went from 39% to 65%. So that was a 26% gain. That's tremendous, right? In our world, just it's hard to get those big of gains. In math, it was a 33% increase, right? So they went from 21% to 54%. In the state assessment, math proficiency went from 25 to 35%. So you have 35% of the students proficient in math. The state average is pretty close, 38%. Growth is what we want to see the students. So when we look at growth, we're comparing the same peer scores, and we would like to see a 50% growth percentile. And you guys are at 53%. So that's percentile, right? So it's great. You guys are doing great here. In reading, it's still stable, right? So not a lot of growth has seen here, but it's stable. Reading proficiency at the state level is 53%. So this is an area that still needs a little bit of work, although it's stable, right? There's a consistency there. The growth, again, if we're looking at a 50 as the average benchmark, we're at a 43. So reading is one area that we should be looking at a little bit closer in markets. So when we look at equity, it is amazing to me, the state equity. So how our non-low income students are performing against our low income students. The state is at a 30% equity gap. Cambridge Lakes is between 1% and 3%, depending on if you're looking at math or ELA. That's amazing to me. So hard work for those non-low income students has been put in, and that's those numbers you don't see, right? You see closer to the 20s and the 30s. So 1% to 3% is amazing. Operational performance.
Voice today. So as Mark talked about the revenue growth, that's always a great idea. If we look at revenue and expenditures, so the revenue increase of 9%. It's a little hard. Hopefully you got in front of you can see that. Okay. Expenditures have risen by 15%, and that's not unusual. It's actually usually higher than that. So that's a good number there to be working with as far as expenditure trends. We generally always know our expenditures pretty well. It's the revenue is coming in that we sometimes get questions. It gets a little bit questioned depending on what's going on. And then cash reserves, you have 302 days of cash reserves. But in the state, I don't think you can see it up there, but the state usually is at about 59 days. So that's quite a bit of cash reserves to have. As we say in school finance, it's always raining in school finance. So we always just matter how hard it's raining. So it's nice to have those cash reserves that will help you to tide you through when we do run into those more difficult times with our expenditures. Culture, environment, and people. Excuse me. The strengths that came out of the reports. The staff is comfortable sharing ideas. There are clear expectations. Creative thinking is encouraged, which that was great to see. And high achievement is supported. With our students. Areas for improvement, build trust between admin and teachers, increase staff development, improve performance feedback, enhance onboarding, improve recruitment and retention, and review academic schedule workload. So those were the main themes that came out of all three reports as far as culture and environment. The talent strategy that was also done by HYA with Lynn. You can see the building blocks there, sustain and scale excellence, performance excellence in the blue, the talent foundation, the organizational architecture to make sure that the job descriptions and what workload and all of that is important to make sure we're keeping people. And then the central learning ecosystem, where we establish central training hub. Because making sure that we bring in good people, we train them, we keep training them. We never stop training, actually, as educators. We're always learning new things. And then we're able to hang on to them and keep them on our staff. That stability really matters with students, and we all know that. So
when we looked at all of the platforms, there was a real strong alignment between all the interviews, the focus groups, the survey. It was nice to be able to see that there was a lot of consistency. And what we did was we wanted to make sure we were looking for themes, right? So here's some of the common themes that came out across all platforms. Strengthen the partnership and communication, especially the communication with D300 and then communication with the stakeholders. Modernize operations and the structure. So they talked a lot, all the stakeholders talked a lot about how nice this school is, but there's still some things that need to be done, like better Wi-Fi, better computers for students. And so some of those infrastructures.
There's the library.
The library
That
came
came
up
up
over
once.
and over and over. Yes. And then to have systems streamlined across all platforms. Of course, we're always looking at enhancing student success, right? So it was very important to have that as a priority, is to have that enhancement. So how can we make Cambridge Lakes grow without losing that uniqueness and having the different types of education, but they still have a solid push, right? So are there ways that we can offer different things for students? Invest in human capital, so that talent strategy. A lot of the same things came out in our interviews and our focus groups. Same things that Lynn Berkey came up with. So how can we invest and strengthen that relationship that we have with our staff and encourage that professional development? So, and that's the last one, foster professional growth and collaboration. So enhance the collaboration. And while they talked about professional development, they would like to see it enhanced as well. There was so many nice comments that came out, but one of the things that came out over and over again is our stakeholders would like a safe environment, a quality environment, and they want well-rounded experiences for the students. And so I think that plays well to a charter school. You can make all kinds of different things happen, and as long as it's safe and there's a quality, you'll have those well-rounded experiences. So our next steps, like Lynn talked about, we already have on the books, February 6th and 7th, we are working on those priorities. And so we'll run through a gamut of activities to have lots of really solid conversations. And at the end, the priorities will come out. And then we will bring that back to you all sometime in the spring to approve that. And then after that, then we start looking at the action, right? So it's one thing to have priorities, but we have to put the action to it. So what are we going to do under all these priorities? And then when are we going to do it? And who's responsible for making sure that it happens, right? So those are all that implementation.
Part of what will happen is after this plan is put together, then we'll do the portrait of a learner. So what about sometimes it's called portrait of a graduate learner is kind of a nice name. You talk about that. So we'll be meeting with everyone to work on that also, to bring whatever has happened in the strategic plan and all themes you've seen back to what do we want our learners to accomplish while they're here and beyond. So
Yeah, any questions?
any surprises, anything you think is missing?
I was gonna ask you the same question. Was there any surprises for you guys in anything that you heard or received?
Go ahead. I don't know that there were any surprises.
So typically we hear something with personnel, right? So onboarding, hiring, retaining staff. We hear a lot of that. Everybody's in that same ballpark. Obviously, we're in a school. We want high quality academics and experiences for our students.
But it wasn't surprising, Art, but it was good to hear that they like the uniqueness of the school and want to keep that, which is a constant. That's why we started that way, is that's what we want to keep and make sure that, we're sending our students off in great shape to do whatever they're going to do. But how do we keep the uniqueness here and not become a traditional school? Nothing wrong with the traditional school, but we're not one.
So is there any sense of urgency in anything that you heard, or any starting points where there might be a sense of urgency in terms of stepping off and doing something different?
And the two areas for me, I think, would be personnel. So in Lynn's report was almost synonymous with what we did, right? So that would be one. And obviously, how do we grow Cambridge Lakes, but keep the high quality and enriching those academics, so the super high achievement.
So I talked about how, like, I was amazed at the number of your, with the equity gap number. So clearly there's some things happening with the non-low income students. So how do we make that across the board? How do we make that bar as high as we possibly can? To me, those are always urgencies, right? Those are people in our academics and do more. The library would be nice, but that's probably not the most urgent thing.
The urgent side of it that I heard was that, you know, it wasn't a worry, but it was, we just need to make sure that we don't change in the right way, I guess maybe I should say.
Yeah.
In that sense. And so people were, and we heard that pretty much across the board
Yeah.
from people, yeah.
Yeah, parents, teachers, admin, I mean, yeah.
Mark, how about you? Any comments from you at all that, what we discussed and you've seen?
No, I think that the idea that when you look at the feedback that says, you know, keeping our small class sizes, keeping that community feel is vitally important as we grow. Because if we outgrow our purpose, then we're going in the wrong direction. And I think that is one of the critical aspects of what makes Cambridge Lakes so special inside our community. So we have to be able to see that forward and make sure that, yes, we're keeping our small class sizes to the best of our ability, and that we're you know, we're using our programming to enhance the community and enhance experiences for kids. So it is that balance that in Illinois, as charter schools, we do have certain things that we must contend with that other states don't, right? So our charter is operationalized by how we are measured by, I should say, how well we do on the state assessment versus the district 300 schools and the state. That's not necessarily how other charters in other states work, right? So we still have to be competitive in at that state level in those assessments, yet we have to find a way to make sure that we're not just doing the standard practice, that we're the incubator for the educational model versus the follower.
And you know, to kind of piggyback off of that, I think educators are often self-serving. So to me, the information that we got from staff was they really wanted that, right? They saw the value in Cambridge Lakes, the uniqueness of it. And so they really wanted it to grow, like get bigger, but not be able to lose some of these things and be able to offer things that were different than what they could just go to D300 again. So that will be the thing that I'm sure much conversation we'll have on the 6th and 7th about is how do we grow that and how do we improve the quality where it's high achievement versus doing the same as what every other school is doing.
And the metrics come in with the action plans so that when you're working your first year of this, you know what metrics you're trying to reach, and then you report those back out to the same team. And then you go back at the second year and third year and all that. So you'll see the metrics change. That's why those are important, because what's important to us we measure. And we want to make sure that we're looking at how unique is this? Are we able to still pivot? Are we still small class sizes, but are we also able to and to offer what the state requires, as you said, Mark, but also put that uniqueness on it that is the Cambridge Lakes. And so that's a tough balance. It really is. It's a tough balance, but one that's well worth the effort to get there. Any other questions or comments? Okay.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Happy holidays. You too.
Sure.
Do you want the?
That concludes my chair report for this evening.
Okay. Therefore, we are at number 8, which are our consent items, specifically 8.1 bill payments, and 8.2 the minutes of November 17, 2025, which was the regular board meeting minutes. I need a motion to approve those consent items as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Director Burke? Yes. Vice Chair Casaro?
Yes.
Director Fessler? Director Miller?
Yes.
Director Walsh?
Yes.
Chair Maniscalco?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Item number 9 is new business, 9.1, school fees. Mr. Razor.
So it's that time of year that we need to look at our school fees, preparing for registration. So this is the first view of our school fees, and then I will come back in January for the board's approval so that we have it ready for our February 1st opening of registration. We are proposing that there is no change in our school fees. As you can see, the structure remains the same. At a total of $225. Our instructional materials at $99, 20, technology fee of $105.80, and lab fees of $20, totaling $225, with the option of being able to purchase the school supply kit. And then the reduced fee, and then the free fees that are in there. We will offer, again, the early registration of $50 off of those fees from February 1st to, I believe, February 28th this year. And then a proposal of, if you register between March 1st and I believe May 1st, it would be $25 off. So trying to get our enrollment numbers in so that we can staff appropriately as efficiently as possible there. Are there questions over the fees at this time?
Do you know, or do you have an expectation for how many students will take advantage of the school supply kit?
I do not. Diane, do you know how many students bought supply kits this year?
140.
Okay.
So 140 out of 700.
Mhm.
So a good enough amount to keep it on there.
Yeah. 18%.
Okay. And then classroom space for new business. So as we're looking at expanding, right, we need to look at all of our available classroom space. So knowing that we want to make sure that we have a library, as you heard, we are looking in where our primary growth is in the Red Kiva. So currently where the NKEC office is, that has 4 walls in there that can be torn down and it turns directly into a classroom. And so we are going to repurpose that. We'll have the budget ready to go for the board to review. But it is definitely needed in our growth to make sure that our class sizes are going to remain where they need to be. And we can open up another section for next year in the 1st and 2nd grades. Because we know we have a rising kindergarten or 1st grade class that will push that threshold. So my office suite, then the NKEC employees will move to the business office over here in Green. And so we are working on that to get all of that completed. And we have enough space for the personnel in those areas. So that is new business, and I'll bring you guys the full budget for that. I think it's exciting. The fact that we're taking away adult space and making it for kids is more exciting to me than anything. So that's a good direction.
So as we think about that, and
Mhm.
obviously, we'll look very closely at the financials.
Mhm.
But I think your statement about and keeping our class sizes small and making sure that there's space for the children that was currently used for adults. There's a message there, and I'd love to understand that a little bit more at the next meeting. And what I mean by that is, how do you take that message and enable our families and the community to understand the lengths that we go through to support our mission and ensure that class sizes stay small and that instruction continues to be elevated. Does that make sense what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Absolutely.
because it's a big move.
Mhm.
And it's one of those things that could be done quietly. But it also is something that has an opportunity to enable our voice to be heard.
I will bring that back to the board
Thank
in
you.
January. Thank you.
We're now at old business.
Okay.
Item number 10, wellness policy.
So this is our second reading of the wellness policy. It's gone through actually a reading of the board and 2 readings of the advisory policy committee. And so as you can see here, the things that we have added on help us to comply with the state. So none of the verbiage has changed. And this prepares us for our state audit and puts us in compliance with the 2023, I believe, updated information. Are there any questions over the wellness policy?
Okay, hearing none. Is there a motion to approve the updated wellness policy as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Second,
Director Burke, Yes. Vice Chair Casaro,
Yes.
Director Fessler,
Yes.
Director Miller,
yes,
Director Walsh,
Yes.
Chair Maniscalco.
Yes.
Motion carries.
We now move to item 10.2, which is food service equipment and capital project update.
So we're working with our general contractor, Allied Services, to finalize the scope of the work and the budget. And so that we've had many different subcontractors out here working through that to find what's the right size of the freezer and cooler that we're going to need for dry storage as we continue to increase our food service programming and our offerings. I mean, you know, we've doubled the amount of kids that we're serving in a day, and so it is a good thing. Miss Coulter has done a phenomenal job of making sure that our kids are getting good food and preparing it in-house, and so it's pretty exciting. So I hope to have the budget to present to the board as part of our budget for next year in the January regular meeting.
So that'll be in June.
Mhm.
Okay. Item number 10.3, transportation feasibility update.
Right now, I met with District 300. They're working through to see what it would look like for reimbursement because of the turnover between the 2 organizations. There's not a lot of historical knowledge there, so we're figuring out what makes the most sense. Or what is legal? Is it just a student count, or is it a mileage count, or how would they be able to submit our students in for reimbursement? So until that is done, I can't figure out the full budget for transportation. But that's something that they're working on, and we're working together. So I hope to bring that in January. I have to see where we're going to be with that.
So does the state reimburse them kids who are outside of the 1.7?
Yeah.
And then they pick up the
1.5. So
1.5.
yeah, so then it would be, in the past, they would just take our number account. And so then we would get the reimbursement. So if it should be anywhere between, let's say 60, it changes each year, but it should be between 60 and 70% reimbursement. So it's not a full 100%, but that's a significant amount of money when you're looking at how much a bus costs. So if we can just go back to the number account, and that's what they're just making sure that we're in compliance with, then they would be able to transfer those funds just like they do for special education. We would do a one-time transfer invoice, and they would transfer that in the end of the fiscal year. So it would be one of those things that we are fronting the money and then the reimbursement model, right? Which I'm comfortable with based on our past histories. Okay. Fee policy.
Item 10.4, fee policy update.
So our first reading of our fee policy, there's certain things that needed to be stricken from the policy as they are no longer part of state law. So you see that all of students' fees, including academic and extracurricular fees, so on and so forth, has been stricken because now it's not in compliance. And then in the red here, what you will see is that it says that the CEO recommends to the board a schedule of fees, which we actually did tonight. If any to be changed, sorry, can't read that far away. Go to my computer and put my glasses on. If any to be changed for students for the use of textbooks, consumable materials, extracurricular activities, and other student fees. Students may also pay fines for the loss or damage to school books or other school-owned materials. I think that the critical pieces here are the last few lines of the second paragraph, where it says, in order that no student is denied educational services or academic credit due to the inability of parents or guardians to pay student fees, the chief executive officer will recommend to the board which additional fees, if any, CLCS will waive for students who meet the eligibility requirement or criteria for a waiver. For students who meet the eligibility criteria for a waiver, and that is not set by us, that is set by the state and federal government. CLCS will waive fines except as follows. Students must pay fines for the intentional misuse, vandalism, damage, or destruction of school property. This verbiage is directly from press. It's very similar to District 300's fee policy language, and it's synonymous throughout the majority of the districts. So it puts us in compliance with the law. The last one is then is what we came out of our discussion about fee collection. The chief executive officer is authorized to seek collection of delinquent debt owed to NKEC to the fullest extent of the law. That is directly from press as well, except it would say superintendent or board designee, depending on the school district. So none of this is operating outside of what we see standard as far as school fees and collections and student waivers. But this brings us up to date as far as our fee policy. Are there any questions regarding this?
I have one question, and this is just about language. So it says, we'll recommend to the Board of Education.
Oh,
I would
sorry.
recommend putting the Board of Directors on there, so that way it's
Yep.
all the same.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, we'll edit that out for a second. Okay. Then our fee committee, or I mean, our policy committee will go through this one last time, and we will present a second reading to the board in January.
Nothing else there?
That's it.
That moves us to item number 11, which is board discussion.
Discuss.
Well, happy holidays to everyone. That's my big board discussion there. Stay warm. Those people out of state, like in Alabama, maybe you can stay a little bit cooler.
It was 21 degrees this morning, so I feel you.
Oh, gee, try a few degrees below. You know, 21 is just not going to get too much sympathy.
Oh, I was hoping for something.
Yeah, well. Are you going to have a white Christmas down there?
I'm going to drive up and have one up by you guys. So,
Well, it'll probably, although it's going to all melt this week. So maybe by Christmas it'll be white again.
okay. Yeah.
Just for you.
Well, I appreciate that. Just want you to know.
Yeah.
Thank you, Director Miller. Thank you, Director Walsh. Anything else? Indeed, enjoy your holidays, and we will meet up again in 2026.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all.
I need a motion to adjourn our meeting,
So moved.
So moved.
8:01.
Second.
We need a second.
Director Burke,
Yes.
Vice Chair Casaro,
Yes.
Director Fessler,
Yes.
Director Miller,
Yes.
Director Walsh,
Yes.
Chair Maniscalco.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Oh, I'm waving in.